This New Year resolution thing really is a trend for me, and I wasn't feeling it anymore. I stopped years ago. When did you stop?
After my 15th failed gym attempt.
That's a common one. Welcome to the Noir Poise podcast, where wisdom is power is more than just a motto.
It's our way of life.
Hope you guys had a very Merry Christmas. And as we approach the new year, we remembered, at least for me, I stopped years ago. When did you stop?
New Year's resolution.
Yeah.
After my 15th failed gym attempt.
That's a common one. New Year's resolutions. It's a thing that we all do. The year numbers changing, fresh start. Let's do something different. Let's attack the same goals we tried to attack last year and the year before. So for me, this was years ago, actually, before we were married. I think even before we were engaged, I decided I'm not doing this anymore. Mm-hmm. Not that I'm not ever going to do resolutions or try to have goals and work on my goals and accomplish them. But I was like, this New Year resolution thing really is a trend for me. And I wasn't feeling it anymore. And not saying there's anything wrong with it. I actually think there's positivity, more positivity that comes from it than negativity. But for me, I realized for my personality, it wasn't something that made sense to do because I like to tackle things, slowly and progress as time goes rather than saying, by this year, it has to be this, that, and the third. And the funny part is I'll have goals and be like, all right, in 6 months, I need to see this progression. But for some reason, something about the year changing, I'm just like, it's another day.
Yeah.
It's another day. It's another day. So for me, I'm like, there's no point in it.
I actually heard someone say this, that as soon as you put a time limit on your goals, you're already setting yourself up for failure. So I think that's why most people, and of course it's not completely absolute, but I do get the concept of it because everyone has their own timing. Mm-hmm. What might take you 6 months could take me a year. So if I'm looking at you and saying, by 6 months, I need to be there. And I'm by month 4, I'm noticing I'm nowhere near there. It's going to be discouraging.
Do you think that's the case for you, though?
Yeah, definitely.
That the time?
Yeah, I think
that's interesting.
I need to definitely pace myself. I'm more goal-oriented versus time-oriented. So I might set limits like I need to get to this level. Once I get to this level, I'll be able to do that. But every time I set a time limit for myself, it almost never works out.
That's so funny because I've heard you say this multiple times where whenever you know you have a time constraint, it applies pressure and you get the work done.
Yeah, but that's honestly for work.
That's why I'm like, I hear you say all the time for work. I actually feel like it was the same when you were doing ministry too.
Yeah, I mean, anything that's outside of myself that I know I have to be held accountable for, that works. But if it's something that I'm doing for myself, it's not going to work.
Do you think it's because people will know? Because like if it's something for work, right? People will know if you didn't meet that time frame. So it kind of like affects your reputation versus like you're the only person that knows what your New Year's resolutions are. So you're just like, I don't care.
Yeah, I think so. And I feel like I've never failed myself because I'm always changing my standards. So
I'm done.
If someone's telling me like you need to have this done and I don't get it done, clearly there's no arguing. I failed. But with me, I can change the rules so much that I'm like, I didn't fail. I just didn't get to it yet. Like I'm a classic. Trying to change this, but I'm a classic procrastinator and I even procrastinate my goals. So if I was trying to get in shape in 6 months and I know it's by month 4, it's not happening, I'll just say, okay, the next 6 months. All right, the next 6 months, that kind of thing. But I don't like New Year's resolutions. I think it's a false hype and I don't like to fall into a false hype, which is why whenever you go to the gym, January 1st or the first week of January is dumb packed. Like
facts. And then it dies down and you're just like, what happened?
When I actually really wanted to go to the gym, I actually told myself, November, I'm canceling my membership.
No, I've done that.
I'm starting it up in March because I know by 3 months, that whole
it'll die down.
Yeah.
I've actually done that when I had like an active gym membership. I literally would be like, all right, I'm gonna just work out at home or I'll go to the track, and I'd cancel my gym membership from like the holiday season to like March because you don't find a machine anyway. It's so packed. It's like you're going there and spending double the time. You know what I mean? Right. So I'd always like shift where like I'll do spinning or I'll do something like Pilates versus like going to the gym actively because it's a waste of time. But that's a common thing that people do. Everyone wants to get in shape.
Yeah.
We all do, us included. We all want to be in shape, stay in shape, get in shape, whatever. And so I think New Year's, whenever the year's changing, I think it's just a number aspect.
Yeah.
I think it just triggers something in us mentally to realize like time is moving.
Right.
I think it's similar to birthdays, right? Like when you're turning a different age, don't you stop and be like, oh snap, I thought by this age I was going to do this, that, and the third. And I'm turning this age and it hasn't happened. So it's kind of like you light a fire up your butt. You're just like, all right, we got to get it done. So I think New Year's resolution is similar to birthdays. I think the good part about New Year's resolution, which I still kind of do, is the reflection aspect. Because you should be evolving in a positive way and improving. So I think the reflection part is really important. So even, I mean, I don't do it just because it's the New Year's, but I do it on a regular, I mean, you know me, I do it on a regular basis. But I think if you're going to reflect on your year, I think that's awesome because that lets you, you know, gain some form of awareness to know like, where did I actually do the things I said I was going to do? Where did I slack off? What time frame did I slack off? Because that's also a trend where like, we said people will work out or do whatever it is that they say they're going to do the first 3 months and then it'll die down. So realizing like the trend lines in getting to where you want to go, I think is probably the best part because then you don't really have to focus on, okay, by 2025, but more so, all right, I noticed I usually hit like a flat line around like the 3-4 month mark. So how can I adjust my goals so that I continue to stay motivated or challenge myself? Sometimes I think the challenge is probably good depending on your personality. I had a friend tell me that she was trying to reach certain goals physically, and what helped her was like signing up to do a race or something like that. And that kind of like helped her. Yeah. And I think sometimes we need that. We need something to kind of like motivate us in a sense or remind us that like, you got this coming, like get it together. Whereas New Year's resolution is often you, yourself, and I who's aware of it. So you don't really have a reputation to keep.
You don't have someone to hold you accountable.
Yes. So I think the challenging aspect is good because then it holds you accountable.
I also think too, I like the example you just gave. Sometimes my New Year's resolutions used to be too specific and too challenging. Like it wasn't just let me get in shape, but it was more like I need to have like a 6-pack ab or whatever the case is.
The drastic
you didn't have to
goals,
add that.
bro.
Okay.
I'm just saying.
But one thing I learned is if you want to achieve a goal, then you got to set a goal in a way where I want to compete in a race. So you know that's it. You need to be in shape to compete in a race, but it's something that's actually tangible versus I just want to look good kind of thing. Like you said, it gives you some kind of accountability.
Yeah,
where, you know,
I think that's
I have
big,
a race in 6 months, so I have to, no matter what, whether I look like I'm in shape or not,
but
I have to compete in this race. Right?
Yeah. I think what you just said is important. Tangible goals. Yeah, because we do often, at least for myself, set unrealistic goals. Well, let me not say unrealistic because it is realistic, but I feel like sometimes we'll set goals that the pressure is just too hard. Yeah. And we know for a fact that 75 to 80% chance that it's not going to happen, but we know it's possible to happen. I think that's often the reason why we tend to hit the flat line at the 3-4 month mark is because we do generalize stuff like you just said, like breaking it down. It's so funny because we learn it in school all the time, like outlining a paper, right? So I think goals work the same way where it's like, okay, you're at point A, you need to get to point B. What are the steps that you need in order to get from point A to point B? And then break down each of those steps. Like what is it that you really need to do? So if it's a situation like I want 6-pack, like abs. That's very realistic for anybody. How do you get that? It's not just by working out. It's by eating clean. It's by giving up certain things. Like if you're a alcohol drinker or if you like sugar or carbs, like there's a lot of different things that you have to do. Doing the research to know like, okay, I don't need to just work out every day. I need to do these specific workouts or I can't just do these specific workouts. I have to make sure that I'm aligning and balancing it out with sprinting versus like weight training, like, like different things like that. So it's more specific and it allows you to focus on the small tangible things rather than by 2025, I should have abs,
I was thinking about why I had New Year's resolutions and why I stopped. And it made me realize that I was just looking for a fresh start. And I think that's what a new year means for everyone. Where you hear people say that all the time, even in church, leave all the bad stuff that happened in
Yeah.
2024 or 2023 in the new year, it's going to be new. It's kind of like, it's literally a day kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's not much that changed, but I think everyone is looking for a fresh start.
Yeah, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, there is nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I think it's actually good, but I think it's the importance of recognizing that you could do that every day.
That's what I was going to get at, where New Year's resolutions, they're hard to keep just because of life, but it's a year. You have to wait a whole year to figure out whether you did it or not.
Mm-hmm.
And I started to adopt kind of like a weekly new resolution where I would look back at the past week and say, what was some of the stuff that I wanted to do? What could I do now? It's a fresh week. It's, even though it's still another day, it's just put things into perspective. And I think that's one of the reasons why people fail, or why people set New Year's resolutions and it fails, because they're looking for a fresh start, but it takes them the whole year to figure out whether they actually did what they wanted to do or they didn't want to do.
Yeah, but it goes back to what we said before, like what you said about doing it weekly is it can kind of align with having a New Year's resolution. So if someone does have a New Year's resolution, but breaking it down in a weekly format where you can kind of like reflect and check in and be like, okay, what did I do? What can I improve on? Even though there's a timeline, which is pretty large, but you still are tapping in on a weekly basis. So it holds you accountable every single week versus you said this year I was going to do this, or this year I was going to start that business. This year I was going to, because we do it all the time. So I think that the weekly thing is good. And I think it can actually be applied with the New Year's resolution if someone was to do it.
Yeah, I saw that only 9% of people who set New Year's resolutions actually see it through.
You know what's funny? I was actually going to Google it when you were saying something. Not that I don't believe you. I believe you. I'm just going to verify it.
Yeah. Trust but verify.
Okay. You can keep talking while I search it, though.
Yeah. Well, so I said 23% of people abandon their resolutions within the first week.
Dang, that's crazy.
Yeah. And after that, 64% quit after the first month. It says by February, 43% of individuals expect to have given up on their goals. So
you were right by the 9%, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
I was just verifying. But
yeah. So it shows that there's something happening between January and February, whether that's people's bubbles being burst. And it goes back to even like New Year's Day, where I'm not a big New Year's person. Like I could care. It's just a regular day. I don't have to go out and celebrate or anything. But it always interests me how I hear people say, I don't want to bring in the New Year alone, or I want to be on a date, or even the idea, I don't know if they still do this, but if people sharing a kiss with someone on New Year's, like, I think it's all because you're not really satisfied with the previous year and you're just trying to end the year or start the year off with a bang. Like, no, look, I'm with my loved one, so I'm happy for this new year. But
you don't think it's just the hype that we've been trained to think of since we were young?
Yeah, I do think it's a hype, because when I was a kid, obviously I wasn't allowed to stay up past midnight. And I'll never forget the first time I stayed up till midnight. I was a kid, mind you, but I was expecting something grand to happen. Like you just see a whole bunch of stars twinkling in the sky or something.
Your stories always be dramatic, bro.
So when I saw that nothing happened, like you weren't even able to tell.
Yeah, the clock went from 11:59 to 12.
This is it. That's it. Like, and it kind of just killed the whole thing for me, because I'm like, it's literally just another day.
Yeah.
But
the year's changing.
Right. And
on the calendar, which we already know.
Yeah. We don't have to get into it, but yeah, I don't even see it as the real New Year's kind of thing.
Yeah.
But I think it just goes back to that, where I was unsatisfied with how something about the year, and I'm just looking for a fresh start, and a new year seems like the perfect opportunity to say, I'm going to get this done. And I start off too strong, which I think is the reason why by February, most people
are like, I can't do this.
Yeah, whatever. It's 2024 times 2 kind of thing, part 2 or whatever.
Oh, that's so funny. No, what you said, I get it, but I think it's more so what we've just been conditioned to think of when it's associated with New Year's, because there are many people who probably are satisfied with their year and would probably want to repeat it.
Yeah.
But I think it's just the hype of it. You know what I mean? Like we have certain holidays and time frames where it's just like, oh, it's New Year's, it's a new year, your fresh start, this is gonna happen. So I really think it's just the hype.
I don't mean to sound messed up, but one of the reasons why I haven't been too crazy about it is growing up, my family, when we were at home, we would literally just start playing praise music throughout the whole, literally into midnight kind of thing.
Yeah. I think that's most Christian families.
Yeah. But we'll be back to praying for the same things that we're praying for,
the year before.
Yeah, the year before. So all that, I think it just made me really sit down and think like it's not a difference between December 31st and January 1st.
No.
But society wise, it is a good refresher to say like, it is a new year. Let me sit down and process. And I think that's what it should be. Not really
yeah, that's what I was saying. It
this
shouldn't
new
be
year I'll do that, but let me just reevaluate everything.
That's what I was getting at with the reflection aspect. I don't think it should be New Year's resolutions, although it's great to have resolutions and you should always have resolutions, but I don't think it should be conditioned just to the new year. But I think it should be New Year reflections.
Yeah, I like that.
Where you reflect the same way you do, most people may do on like their birthdays or every 6 months or every quarter, whatever the case is. But like just reflect on what have you done, what has changed, what has not, what do you want to improve on. I think those things are always awesome to do. But resolutions, unless you're someone who's super disciplined, like the stats say, most people will stop within a week. I thought it was going to be like the first 2-3 months. To see like 80% drop it by February is what I saw, actually. I don't know if you mentioned that.
I think I saw 64.
However, only 9% of people stick to their resolutions all year, and 80% are forgotten by February.
That's wild.
Yeah, but it says it's probably because of a lack of a clear goal. So it aligns with what we're saying, breaking down the goals, right? And I think that goes across the board. Yeah. You have a goal, break it down. You can't just wake up one morning and be like, I'm going to be rich. No, it doesn't work that way. That's delusional. And although delusional is good sometimes, especially for someone who's trying to be rich, but have a plan. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like have a plan. Outline your goals, break them down into steps, have agendas for those steps, have to-dos for the aspects of it, and then that will lead you to the goal, because it's very possible to accomplish the things that we set for ourselves within a year. A lot can happen in a year. A lot.
And realistically, the goals that I saw people highlighting were mainly health goals, like getting in shape, eating
which is
better,
even more
realistic.
realistic.
It is more realistic. What has been working for me is literally taking it one day at a time. Like if I tell myself that I'm going to go work out, I don't think to myself, I have to work out 3 times this week. I just say I have to work out today. I don't have to work out tomorrow, but today I have to do it. And I think it's easier to just do things that way versus looking at a whole year, 12 months and saying like, by the end of this 12 months, I'm going to be a certain weight or a certain shape. That's overwhelming, I think, for anybody, because the life has different seasons. You might be able to work out during the winter when it's cold and you can just stay in the gym.
Yeah, but then in the summer there's events every other week. You're just like, I ain't got no time.
Barbecues and all that stuff, like
chicken wings and whatnot. Yeah, I see that.
Yeah, I think it's just too much. So I don't think I'm
not saying there's anything wrong with New Year's resolutions.
Yeah, right. It's just our opinion, of course.
This is our opinion. So if you guys do New Year's resolution and it works out for you, how about you leave a comment and let us know what has worked, so it can help other people, but also it can help us. Thanks. Maybe, because I don't do New Year's resolutions, but that doesn't mean I'm not open up to the ideas of what works for people, because then I could apply it to my day-to-day. So if you have any comments, you have any suggestions, leave it down below. If you've seen a video that was good, leave the link down below. We'd love to hear from you. So maybe that'll change. Maybe we'll come back next year and be like, we changed our mind.
Yeah, it's still some time left to make a New Year's resolution list. So
really?
We'll see. I mean, I'm not going to do it probably, but we'll see. I'm open to anything.
All right. And we're out. See y'all next week. Happy New Year. Thank you for spending your time with us. We hope you gained some knowledge today that'll promote poise in your life. We have new episodes uploaded every Thursday right here, same place, same time. Until next time, you can follow us on Instagram at Noir Poise Podcast to stay connected. That's NOIRPOISED Podcast. We'd love to hear your feedback.
And remember, your wisdom is power.